Welcome to the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. Now enjoy the show. All right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about Type 1 Lifting. So Type 1 Lifting is a clothing brand that proceeds of the shirts, the hats, and everything else go to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. This whole t-shirt company started from me taking care of a 5-year-old girl from the emergency department at the Children's Hospital I worked at in Atlanta for a while back. I thought I needed to do a little bit more than kind of just talk about my story. So this is how I started the clothing line, because I wanted to show people that even though diabetics have this really bad disease, we can still do amazing things in our life, and diabetes won't stop us reaching our goals. So go check out type1lifting.com. And, if you have any questions, you can always reach me out on Instagram. It's Type 1 Lifting, and hope you guys enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Liberté Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I've had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have CrossFit athlete / misfit athletic athlete, Xander Fallek. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Not bad. Listen, I first actually knew about you through the Misfit YouTube channel, because I was like, who's this guy? He's always on the YouTube channel, either going to Wadapalooza or some other place, and even on Instagram, I'm like, this dude is always with the team. So I'm like, and so I started following you, and then we actually had a good rapport with the Touch and Go gang, but we'll talk about that later. But
yes.
Yeah, and so that's how we met. So I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on, and honestly, people always ask me what is my affiliation, and I was like, and if you ask Hannah Hardy or Diana Lamberti, I came up with myself just I'm a friend of the program. That's if I'm just a friend of the program. Love the boys up north, Jabs, Ted, Chatmas. I'm very blessed that I get to just tag along and just how I've made friends in CrossFit, and it's a crazy spot that I'm in, but I'm very appreciative of everything that it's allowed me to do.
Yeah, very cool. So you live in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now. So I've been there. I've been to Oklahoma once. So I went over the Red River because I was in Texas, right at the border, and so that's the only time I went to Oklahoma. So what is it like there? First of all, because I've never been there.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Okay, so I moved here April 12th of 2020. So timeline, COVID was killing us, and I got a promotion at work, and they told me to move up here, and I had no idea what I was moving into because I was sight unseen, and they gave me 2 weeks. Couldn't say goodbye to friends in Texas because everybody's staying at home.
Yep.
Nobody knows what to do, and this is just the way it was at the time. And I just move up here, get to the hotel because I don't have my apartment for 3 weeks because I'm people are not working. It's great. It's a lot of wide open space. I like to describe it as Tulsa is the Austin of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And it's 1/15 the size.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So are you now an Oklahoma Sooner fan or a Oklahoma State fan or?
So I would say growing up, my dad went to Notre Dame, so I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I was a Michigan fan. Yeah, deal with it. I've been to plenty of Michigan, Notre Dame, football games at the Big House and Notre Dame Stadium. I've been to more Michigan Notre Dame hockey games, which are even wilder than the football games. Those are actually the things to attend. If you can ever get to one of those, definitely go to one of those. But I would say like, I'd probably I like watching the Bedlam game. I just like probably a Sooners person, but like I always go with Notre Dame. Like that's like my go-to through and through.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, what's funny, like speaking about like you being a fan of Notre Dame and I'm a fan of Michigan, like I have no affiliation with like Michigan. I've never went to school there. I just like up north, like we don't have any really like college sports teams. I mean, we have like Boston, like we're good in hockey.
Like you have BC for hockey.
Yeah.
Like you got like, and for how many people lived in Boston, like I don't know what part of Mass you grew up in, but it's like, there's like, you don't really like, you have football, but it's not like, it's like, I grew up playing lacrosse, which abnormal for having gone like living in Texas, but it's just like, like that's not your thing. You got to go. Like, have you been to Ann Arbor?
Yeah. So my first year anniversary, we went to a Michigan Akron, Ohio game. So yeah.
Go Zips.
Well, we had no like
Zips.
Tickets were like astronomical, and I'm like, I'm not paying this. So
yeah, no, it's like tickets to the big house are not cheap, but it's like I'm sure you had the best time.
Like, oh yeah, I
there's
loved it.
A lot of things to be said. Like college football games definitively are better than professional level football games.
Yeah. And the reason why I became a Michigan fan was like the Desmond Howard, he ran it for a touchdown, did the Heisman pose. I was at a barbershop getting a haircut, and I was like watching this, and I was like, okay, I'm hooked, because I didn't, for some reason I didn't like Ohio State. I didn't like their colors for some reason, and so I was like, okay, I'll just root for Michigan, and then I just got hooked. And
as you're wearing the Ohio State colors on your T-shirt right now.
Yeah, I know. I was literally in a rush. So I mean, and plus, this is okay. I'll let it slide, because like I don't have any other.
It's not red and silver. Like you can get away with red and black and just like call it like I'm a Red Wings fan, so you're wearing the Red Wings colorway. Let's just call it that.
So another gross thing about Ohio State, there's a guy in my town. He has a Porsche 911, and he actually made his Porsche to look like the Ohio State helmet. He has that like racing stripe of like the red and black, and with like the Buckeyes like logo, like Buckeye stickers in the back, and I'm like, that is awful.
Oh, buddy. I'm not a big fan of sports cars. I'd rather just drive like something higher and off the ground, like my F-150.
Yeah.
And shit, like that's just the way I am. But like, I'm just imagining that. Like, I'm sure that guy's super passionate and loves it. That to me is very gaudy. I like something that's a little like maybe matted, like a little bit more like blends in to the like. Do I want to get behind a Lamborghini? Yeah, like that'd be cool. But like, I'm like, I wouldn't. That's just not a good look.
It's awesome. It's awful. I looked at it. I see it like once every month, and it's just like I just want to like just rip the stickers off. I'm like, do you understand like how how shitty that looks? Like it looks like gaudy, like you said. I can't do it. So, but I know by talking to you before, you actually know a couple diabetics. So
yes,
kind of what is your experience with diabetes? Seeing it through seeing it through your eyes, like your friends, like, dealing with it.
Yeah. So like I have friends that are type 2, like, but obviously with type 1 and just like kind of just more like children, like, or my friends who I met like as an adult, but like they grew up as kids and like their pancreas just doesn't work. And it was very different. Like I had a college roommate, like one of my best friends, Cameron, like in college, like it's when you're having a college experience and you want to go have a couple drinks, like you're screwed. And like, it was pretty scary. We did end up having to call an ambulance one time. Like he wasn't taking care of it. Mm-hmm. And like, that was probably the scariest experience. But like my other buddy, Brendan, like he's a nurse, like doing great. Snyder, like it's like, he's great and like takes care of himself, but it's also like, even being in a fitness base, like that's also still really tough. And like how you manage all those things and the spikes that you can go through and like the lows, and managing that, like with trying to be in fitness.
Yeah. So I have a listener question from somebody, another diabetic. So his question is, who is your favorite diabetic?
Oh, okay. Who is my favorite? I'm trying to think of like who are like people with diabetes, but it's like I will probably say my friends, because I can't think of anybody that actually has diabetes right now, like even a professional athlete or a celebrity. Like, and you probably can rattle off like 4 or 5 for me. And
I could do a couple. Yeah.
Who are like some more like well-known people that haven't. Like I can't think of it.
So I think that the tight end, the star tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
a type 1 diabetic. He went to Oklahoma.
Okay.
There is a field goal kicker from, I think he's in Kansas City now. I forget his name, but he's another diabetic that's pretty up there.
Okay. I'm going with that guy because for the brand, if you know Pat McAfee, like that's my guy.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's just like you got to go like you got to like pick like people that operate at a high level in professional sports, like Mark, super like people that like doesn't like it doesn't matter if you like you have something that can hold you back and you're like screw it, no, I'm going through this. Like it sucks. You probably have to do like eat more, try to take some Gatorade, try to do something to offset like everything. But it's just like okay, like you like it's cool to see people operating high level with something, and it's like it doesn't matter. Like you got to get through it.
Yeah. And like I know Mark Andrews, he actually tests his blood sugar every single quarter twice.
God, that's got to be like frustrating, but it's like, hey, if you're playing at that high level, that's what you got to do. Because you only have such a, like the smallest window to make all your money and be like, I need to be at a high elite level of doing this. And like, there's that. Because arguably the kicker probably doesn't need to test it that frequently.
I mean, even there's a long snapper that's a diabetic too, and it's just like maybe once a quarter, maybe. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, so. Maybe. Like maybe it just does it at halftime and sees what happens. Depending on the game. So.
All right. So the next listener question is, what is your go-to coffee?
So yes, this is you're gonna love this. So go-to coffee. If it's not a pour over in my ratio 8 machine that I have at home, I love cold brew. So so people at home don't see this. So I am a ginger. I have a lot of freckles, pale skin. I'm Irish. Fun fact. And so I always tell people I drink coffee like a soulless monster. So it's always black. I like a pour over. I like a shot of like, if I'm going to a good coffee shop, I will get a double espresso and a cold brew to go. Okay. And if you want to like the elite level people that know that Starbucks and Dunkin' are really just convenient caffeine in a cup and not quality coffee.
Garbage. Yes. Even garbage.
Trash.
Yes.
And so you understood what I was saying. I just take a long way to get there. And so I always tell people just get the venti cold brew, no ice. It's professional. They give you more coffee and you're much happier for it. And you're just trying to get the caffeine in you as fast as possible.
Yeah. So little known fact, Dunkin' Donuts was originally made in Massachusetts.
Yep.
And so
that was my go-to college. Like I started drinking coffee. Like I was a fat kid. Like I started drinking coffee with all the sweetener, the Baskin Robbins, like sweeteners, all the milk. And then I joke, like I did keto before keto was cool. Like the summer between junior and senior year of college where like, you just don't eat carbs or butter or dairy. You're just like eating protein and just like trying to like limit, like I'm like just ate like grilled chicken salads with like balsamic vinaigrette and you're just like hating life, but you're like, I got abs. I'm like cool now. And you don't know any better because you're like try to go work out and you do like 400 meter run and you're like, why can't I sustain this? And like that's how I got into black coffee and then learning like what are some of the best coffee shops in America by traveling so much.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, the other listener question is, do you have to get your suits custom made because of your giant calves?
That's such a good like question because like, okay, so for the people at home, I do work in finance and yes, I do have to get custom suits and I don't get custom suits because of the calves. I get custom suits because my waist is so small relative to my quads. I can't fit into 32-inch waisted pants. If I was to get something off the rack, I would have to get 40-inch waisted pants and then get the seat, the waist, and the legs, like everything done. So it's actually cheaper just to get a custom made suit, which is frustrating.
Yeah. I'm almost at the point. So I'm 6'6", and so it's like it's really hard to like find.
Like I wouldn't know you're 6'6" until like you say it, or like I heard it on the last podcast. And I was like, Jesus, he's tall.
Yeah.
Like you and DeLugos, like, okay, big guys in CrossFit, like it's practically non-existent. And it's just like, but like for you, like you're in relatively good shape. So it's like, you'd have to get really tapered. Like I know too much about like sartorial stuff now. And it's a huge pain in the ass for you. And I can guarantee, like, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. And like, I've been squatting a lot. So obviously like the legs are getting bigger and it's just like, I have these like pair of pants that I have like 6 months ago and now they're like getting to be like really skin tight. And I'm like, I really, yeah, I need to get a bigger waistline or something like that,
Yeah.
or go to like, some store, some tailor, and just be like, okay, just do what you got to do.
So I like no free ads, but go to Suit Supply if you have it because you're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, look up Suit Supply. Like they're customs, so they're like nicer than Joseph A. Banks, but they're cheaper than Brooks Brothers. And you can they'll build you a custom one. Like that's where I get my suits done. So that's what I just give me that one.
Okay. All right. Next listener question. So if you had to pick 3 celebs to pick in a street fight, who would they be and why?
Okay, so am I fighting them, or I just want to see 3 celebs get into a street fight?
3 celebs in a street fight.
Okay, 3 celebs in a street fight. So I would want to see Conor McGregor versus Tom Cruise versus Patrick Swayze, RIP.
All right.
So you take a professional fighter versus Tom Cruise, who always did his own stunts, and Patrick Swayze, because Roadhouse is my favorite film of all time.
Okay.
And Dalton is the best bouncer in the entire world, and I will never ever let that go.
Yep.
And I just want to see like how it would go, because that would be like that weird, like, okay, so you do know what you're doing, but there's a professional here, and then do like the 2 actors like gang up on him, like that. Like there's like that weird strategy where it's like if you're just doing the call from the side and it's like you and me, just like you're like I'm doing color, I'm like we'll see what happens. Like that could potentially be good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that one a lot. I never actually, I wouldn't even think of those 3 together. So,
and that's just what, like, this is how my brain works. Like, that's just where it went. I was like, what would be good? Like that, like these are good. Like these, like it would be cool to see. Like Tom Cruise has been in enough like quality, like Top Gun, all the Mission Impossibles, Days of Thunder, which is a great film. Patrick Swayze, phenomenal actor, was in Ghost, duh. And then Conor McGregor, who just gets in bar fights outside of just the UFC all the time. So
yeah. So you said earlier that you play lacrosse. So a little backstory: I played lacrosse for like 22 years.
Yes.
So I started playing in college, and I just played all the way through college, like starter. I was a long stick midi, so I was just like running down all over the place. And like then after that, I was like playing in summer leagues, and like I almost tried up with the professional level, but I just was like, I just don't have the time, to be honest with you. Like, because it takes a lot, because like, you got to travel everywhere, and those dudes like drive from.
You're not making money, like you're not like anybody that's in the MLL, like depending on when you're looking, like it's hard. Like, so I played starting in 5th grade because my parents told me like I always had to play a fall and a spring sport, and I wanted to quit baseball because baseball I just didn't have like coaches that like I just didn't enjoy it. And my grandpa played. So I started in Michigan before I moved to Texas, and then I got recruited to play in college in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and then just played all the way through college, and then moved back to Texas. And like I was so burned out at that point, I just gave up. Like I just was like super like I just started watching lacrosse again like this year. Like I had been burned out for like 8 years.
Yeah. So I was playing a couple of years ago. I was playing in like an old man lacrosse league, which is like 35 and older. So there were dudes that never played before, like their first year playing lacrosse, in which I'm like, hey, that's awesome. You're starting out. And so like, here's me trying to coach these guys and like yelling at them, like 2 hands, or like, just like, and it got to the point. I'm like, the guys were like, hey man, like, I know you're really trying hard to like, help us out, but just remember, some of us only been playing for a year. And I'm like, okay. But like some of those dudes, they're like weekend warriors, like above and beyond. They just go all out. And I'm like, bro, I gotta work tomorrow. So
like I'm here to like, just don't cross check me, please. Like but then you also get the people who are like, I'm just here to drink beer after and just like do one run. Like I'm just going to sub me in. Like you got like this dichotomy of like, that is the most like retired athlete, like spectrum. It's like, no, I'm just here for the beers.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So do you have any ambitions of playing again at all, or?
I wouldn't. So I did play in my high school alumni game in 2019 because I was just like able to I was down there, which was a lot of fun. But I really don't like, it's just hard to find places to play. Like I like have my, like, I did donate all my equipment. I don't even have any sticks anymore. Like I just donated because I just was like, it's better to go to somebody who's going to play. If I was going to do anything, I'd probably go back and think about coaching.
Okay. Okay.
I'm still more inclined to coach somebody in CrossFit right now than I would be in lacrosse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lacrosse coaching is tough. I've done it for like 7 years, so it's yeah.
Yeah, like even when I was doing it in high school and a little bit in the summer in college, I was just like, this is. I appreciate my coaches a whole hell of a lot more than I do when I was actually like had them. Just because I'm like, oh, you got to be real passionate now. Like that's how this works.
Yeah.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, well, I had a couple kids go D1, so and it's like it's kind of fulfilling to kind of see them, you know, grow from like being like a sophomore to like a senior, then all of a sudden like going D1, and then it's like so cool like seeing them like actually go to the games and like watch them. So it's a feeling, but it takes a lot though.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, and it's cool because I still talk to like my one high school assistant coach and then my summer league coach from like who did my travel like schedule because he coaches right now, and so like that's still cool to have those relationships and like look back and be like, I appreciate you for like putting in the time with me because I can't believe like you put up with my goofy like shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was doing research on you, I was actually on your LinkedIn account. So I was like trying to figure out, get a little bit more information on you.
Yeah.
So you are a financial consultant. So how did you even like get involved in that kind of field, and like what made you kind of lean to that compared to like other, other careers, out there?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was in high school, I was an athletic trainer, like, cause I thought that's what I wanted to do in college. And then I very, very like learned in 4 years, like, no, this is not at all what I want to do. And so I went with a meeting with my parents to their financial advisor, and I just thought like it was cool. And then I just started in college. And then I talked to my parents' financial advisor when I was like spring semester, senior year. I was like, hey, where do I go? And then I just like applied to the company I work for now. And then literally like phone center, like taking like 60 calls a day, just inbound, like just beating your head into the wall, like all the way to where I am now, like working with like the families I do, which is amazing. Like just helping people retire and like being able to like watch them spend their money the way they want to, instead of having to like worry about like, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage this month? Am I going to be able to pay for food? Is really great. And it's just like, it's really fulfilling to like help people like live the lives they want and like spend their wealth the way they want to.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is the one thing that you notice people do a lot that's like a huge mistake?
Like when it comes to like, I'm going to take out $100,000 of my retirement savings to pay off my mortgage. Like that's like the number one, like there's a lot of factors, and it's more because like taxes and like you're not going to be able to make up the money you think because of the way you lived, because there's a lot of dollar cost averaging is the greatest thing to get you to retirement and is the biggest hurdle that you'll have to deal with in retirement because it will hurt you the most.
Yep.
And it's essentially, you're just breaking people of 45 to 50 years of habits. And if you've done something that way, it's really, really hard.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. So, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So, what are your goals for pretty much like being in the career? Are you like trying to go to like upper management? Like what's your,
so work right now, like it's working with the families I'm working with. Like, it's like, I don't really like have like, maybe one day I want to, that would be pretty cool. But it's just like right now it's like, I got to take care. Like, it's like, imagine being best friends with like 120 to like 180 people. And you got to take care of not just those people, but their wives, their kids, and like all that, and just making sure you can build that and make it sustainable and make sure like they're taken care of, because they are really leaning on you for it. It's not really the money or the dollars and cents. Like I joke, it's more financial therapy, because you really have to understand the emotional side and making sure like they're not going to do something to hurt themselves. Or it's like, because at the end of the day, like I can come up with the most efficient plan at the like as possible, but it may not be the most effective because I don't want you losing sleep at night.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Very cool. So, when did you hear about CrossFit for the first time? Because I know you're probably like high school, college, you're playing sports, and then like, after college, you're probably like, I need to do something else. So like, when did you find CrossFit?
So I found CrossFit my sophomore year. My one of my teammates, Mike Squilante, took me to CrossFit Scranton. He was like, "Hey, I'm doing this now." Like I'd never heard of this, and I get in there, and I swear, I like distinctly like the like everybody remembers their first workout, like, but I swear I think it was just a bunch of deadlifting we were doing, where it was like you had to do 20 reps unbroken one, 15 unbroken one, 10 unbroken one, and then 5 was like the workout for the day. And it was like I just pulled something, I don't remember it, but like, and it sucked. And I was like, this is really hard, and I shouldn't be working this. Like it's like that. Like I want to come back and do this again. Mm-hmm. But like one of the most effective workouts that I remember, and like was we had to do 100 wall walks for time, and this is 2012, and every minute on the minute was 10 air squats. So it's like a 30-minute workout, like, which is an ungodly amount of like wall walks. And so I just remember that. And then we start playing lacrosse again for the spring, and I don't go back to CrossFit until fall of 2014. Mm-hmm. Cause I just was like, oh yeah, like gained weight, stopped running, like all like it just college. Like I was just being a D3 collegiate athlete. Sorry, we're not going pro. Just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the D3 athletes that are like playing football, and they're like, yeah, like I play football here. This is a football school. I'm like, bro, it's like D3. It's not, you're not going anywhere. Sorry.
Yeah.
So.
No. And like, it was very realistic. And so pick it back up. My first open was the 2015 open. And that's when I got my first muscle up.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember that. And like the only real workout I did well on was not the chest bar overhead squat workout, was not the muscle up workout. It was like the rowing thruster workout was the one I did well on. Because I think it was the 27, 21, 15, 9, 15, 5.
Yep. I remember that one.
Yeah. That was it. I hurt real bad, and people were like, how did you do that? I was like, just in the tank. Like that, there's nothing about that workout it is physically hard, but that is more of a mental challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember that one vividly. Like that was hard. Very, very hard. And it was, I think I've been doing the CrossFit for, I believe it's, say like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
that's just about me. If I count starting in 2012 and that long break, it's like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like how from, 2012 to now, like how everything's changed.
Oh, it's absolute. Like, and the funny part is, I was like, where was I at the Go Rut games this weekend when we were talking? It's like, it's still, or was I think I was watching the kettlebells and cocktails last week. Like it's still in an infancy. Like it still is. Like we're still in a very infant type sport, and it's cool to see it still growing and changing.
Yeah. So all of all, like obviously you're part of the Misfit team now. So like, how did Misfit come along?
So funny enough, so I'm 2014. Andrew Maley, who's coaching at CrossFit Scranton, starts having me do like workouts. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying training. Like I'm trying to do more, which is the most like, don't do more, just do better at doing less. Like looking back, first caveat. But it was like, he was just having me do bitch work. He literally just had me do bitch work, and I had no idea what it was. I just knew we were doing Misfit. So he's like having me do 10 rounds of rowing 500 meters and 50 double unders, and let alone I can't string along 15. Not that I have to do 500 in this workout, and just getting my like crap pushed in for like, and like, that's essentially how I found it. And then I like graduate, like break up with a girlfriend and start doing the blog, and I start working nights 2 to 11 p.m. So I can literally just like wake up at 7 in the morning and then go train 4 or 5 hours and still have an hour to get to work. So like I just start doing the blog, and then I go to a CrossFit camp at CrossFit Edo in Houston and like meet everybody. Don't know a soul. This is the first time I've driven like 5 hours by myself and like just go to a camp and like meet everybody, like Drew, Sherb, Dex, and Gabe's there, who's now my coach. And I'm like serious about trying to like go to regionals, like I wanted to. And like Gabe's in charge of coaching. He's like, oh yeah, just go fill this out and all this stuff. And like, so I fill it out Saturday night. I mentioned it to him. He's like, oh cool. Yeah, I'll get back to you. He emails me Sunday night, and I just have to like, at this point you have to pay for a year up front. And I had like enough savings and like was able to do it. And I just paid it. And he was like, nobody's ever turned around this fast. And we just started in December of 2016 is when I started doing remote coaching with them. And then been there ever since and kept going to camps and just pretty much been a repeated thorn in their side, and they just haven't kicked me out yet. And so I've learned a lot from the guys and like really getting to know them and like really like the community at large and just making friends with Hannah, Diana, Hilda, Brendan, Nate, who else? Chatness, Ted, like working with the Sharpen the X, like all of them, like behind the scenes, like it's just great. Like I'm forgetting people and I'm sorry, but it's like, it's cool to like be like that, like ingrained in the community and like the family.
Mm-hmm. Now was Gabe the only, like, did you want to choose Gabe as a coach, or was that like the, like, I'm not, listen, I'm not bashing Gabe whatsoever. He is a tremendous coach. Like I've heard nothing but good things about him, but like, were you aiming for like somebody else, like during the remote coaching thing?
Yeah. Like, so the funny part is like, so you watch the blog, like the YouTube, like podcast when they're just sitting on the couch at old HQ. And it's like, I didn't know Gabe all that well. And I like, again, like I didn't have any skills. Like I literally like couldn't string like 3 toes to bar together, even at this camp. Like it was still like, gymnastics has always not been my thing. Like I don't, looking back, no, but large pause, having Gabe as my coach is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Cause Gabe, I'm very outgoing. I'm very loud. I'm like, just very naturally, those are my things. Gabe is very much like, he will talk the most shit to you during a WOD, which is phenomenal, but he's very stoic in the way he coaches. And it's very much aligned with like, I've talked to Paige about this, Semenza, who's another one of, she came on after I was already there working with Gabe, but it's like, we don't get told good job all that much because like you chose this, like, right. Mm-hmm. And Gabe has helped me not just be a better athlete, but be a better human. And like, that's what a real coach is. And like, I know like Sherb does it, Hunter does it, Drew does it. Paige is now a coach, Kenzie, like they all like, that's where you move the needle. It's not just the things in the gym. It's how they make you a better person. And Gabe has challenged me numerous times about how my thought process as an athlete, as a competitor, as a friend, a son, and just being like a mentor to other athletes.
Very cool. Yeah, when I always hear him on podcasts, like when he was like on the podcast, like earlier on, like when they first started, always like listening to him and pretty much getting his like insight of coaching. Because usually, from what I've noticed, is the quiet ones are usually the best ones. So and like that's and there's other people that are very good too, and they're very loud. But like the quiet ones are always the ones that like they get you. So they know it. They know like how to push the needle.
And it's like the little things they tell you, like. Gabe, they like, even I think like Gabe is the absolute best for me because it's like, it's very like, okay, how are you doing? Like, what do you need? Like, even trying to like, again, like I have like a full-time career, which a lot of people don't know because I don't really broadcast it all that much because again, even my industry, I'm not supposed to, just because there's rules and regulations for it. But it's like, he helps me try to find that ground. And like, when I wanted to take a step back from CrossFit, to focus on my career, he was still super supportive in helping me get ready for, hey, I don't think I really want to do this. I want to do a triathlon. He's like, cool. Like, you want to do the triathlon with me? Like, Gabe and I did my first triathlon together.
Oh,
he helped me get ready for my first marathon. Like, and this is like, and then didn't like do remote coaching again for 18 months. And then I was like, here's High Rocks. I want to start doing this. I need my coach back. Like, I'm not good at programming. He's like, yeah, let's go. Like, here we go. Like, it came back like last year about this time. I just saw the memory pop up and like, me just being like John Cusack holding up like the speaker and just like posting that because that's just how my mind works. Yep. And like, it was like, that's what I needed. I needed to like go back to, because he's more than a coach to me. He's one of like my brothers and friend. Like, I look at him like that and I know I can always get the like great advice from him.
Very cool. Now, I do want to talk about High Rocks a little bit later. So, at the first training camp that you went to down in Texas, like, was that a complete eye opener? Like watching all those dudes like throw weights around and move.
Yeah, it's like Jordan Cook. Was Dex squatting at that point? Or no, Dex was coaching. I don't think he stepped in, but like I was ish strong. Not really. Like Jordan Cook is still like stupid strong. it was an eye opener to see what actual fitness was. Cause I was training by myself and like, I didn't have training partners, and like, it was a huge eye opener. And I was like, I'm really shitty. Like, I don't move well. My toes to bar trash. I can't do chest to bar. I can barely do like a bunch of muscle ups. Like, there's so much to do, but like, I can run. Like, that was my thing. Like, the weakness warm up one day was like run a mile, and I beat everybody. Like, I beat Travis, everybody. And they were like, I came in and like, I heard this like years later, and I think it was like last summer. They're like, who the fuck is this big guy who can run? Like, no, like this kid shouldn't be able to run, but he does. Like, that was my thing. Like, that's all. It was aerobic background is what I had.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So obviously you've been to other, training camps and like other events, and like my thing is like, you're pretty much anywhere Misfit goes is like pretty much where you're going. So first of all, how do you get the time to do it? And then like, how did you kind of like, kind of dip your toes and say, hey guys, like, mind if I tag along, or like, hey, can I help out? How did that come
about? So like, one, like, work is remote. Like, getting to the job I had now when I took the promotion, like, it was mostly remote. So like, the past couple of years, I was very not trying to, like, I chose to put myself at risk, however you want to put it. Like, I was just going to travel, and I was going to go do things. I was going to go to North Carolina, meet Hunter McIntyre, and train and work out with him, like, and go see Chandler Smith, and like go meet up with Dex when he moved to Mississippi and go train. Like, I was going to go put myself in situations, go to different like training camps and see how people move and learn. But really, me like starting to help more was like, I always knew the guys, loved the guys. Go to Granite Games last year, and Dex Hopkins is working media at the time. He was like, I'm retired from fitness. He's not anymore. Congrats on semis. I love you, bro. And he needed me to bring him a $1,200 camera lens that I had to pay for, that he was going to pay me back for. Then he told me, take it back and return it. And Chandler Smith, who's also a great friend of mine, didn't bring his Yeti cooler to Granite Games. And it was hotter than Texas and Oklahoma that weekend. So he asked me to bring him a cooler. So Dex was like, oh, we'll stay in my room, bring me the stuff, like, just fire yourself up. Caroline and Austin are there trying to qualify. And I'm there. I know the guys. They're like, oh yeah, here you go. And really essentially was, I bring Chandler the cooler. Chandler gives me a VIP pass. VIP pass allows me on the field. And I'm just tagging Caroline and Austin, just being me on social media. Ted sees it, and Ted's like, hey man, you think you can help me? Like, I'm doing a lot, and it's hard to do social media and filming and camera stuff. I was like, yeah, sure. Give me whatever. And I started shooting it, and he was like, that was great. Like, you did a really good job. And I was like, did I, like, because I don't know, like, I just know what an eye looks like and things. And then it kind of steamrolled into, hey man, can you come to Madison and help shoot the sidelines for the Instagram account? And I was like, wait, so you want me to come to Madison and I get to be even closer than being in the stands for the ticket I already paid for? And I was like, hands down, went, because Hannah qualified and I was already going to be there. Like, I just was putting myself in situations, and just, Dex tells me it the best. I put out a lot of positive in the world, and I always ask, like, how do I get here? And he's like, the energy you put out is what you're getting back. Mm-hmm. And I don't like need to get paid. Like, I would do that for them, hands down. And of like, as much as they ever ask me, like, I love them to death, and they are family to me. Like, everyone in our Misfit community, like, if somebody comes at you in your DMs or your comment section, tag me, I will come save you, and I will absolutely bury them to the ground. Like, I will, like, there's like, pick your hills to die on, and I will stand on the edge. Like, we have the best community, best people in the CrossFit space, period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got here.
Speaking about, actually, and then I saw you at Wadapalooza at the Sharp and the Axe booth, and you're wearing that fedora. Was it the fedora hat, or like what
cowboy hat?
Like,
I have a bunch of cowboy hats that I get custom made from my buddy Kyler down in Texas. He does a great job. I got to go pick up 2 more. But I was on the feed, and like, it was just that weird location of like, our booth was in the right spot, and I just kept standing there with the hats, and like they were like, hey, can you come help us? Like, you, like, I was like, yeah, yes, I've never been to Wadapalooza. Like, you've never been to Wadapalooza? Like, I had never gone to the games. I'd never gone to Wadapalooza. I'd never gone to a semi, like, all in the past year. And the guys, Jabs, like, all allowed me to kind of fulfill a bunch of cool stuff while having me have a purpose to help out, which is probably the most appreciative. And I just was at Wadapalooza and just helping sell merch and doing things and trying to be like the best ambassador for them as possible.
Yeah, that was one of the bucket lists I was trying to get to Wadapalooza this year, and it just like obviously it just didn't work out. But I'm hopefully, next year I can do it. We'll see what happens, or even go to a training camp. So that's like one of the goals is at least either go to Portland for the training camps and Wadapalooza.
Come to Portland.
Yeah.
Like whatever. I think we're having one in the summer. I don't think they've released the dates yet, but you need a place to stay. You can stay with me and Hannah because we always end up doing like a big athlete like house because we like it's the most cost effective. It's always the easiest. Like you're in, just come.
Yeah, and my parents' house is like an hour and a half, hour, and it's like 15 minutes away from them too. So
okay,
worst case scenario. So
yeah.
So
whatever you want, like if you want to drive the hour and 15 in, an hour and 15 home,
I really
closer.
I really don't, but yeah, it's okay. But you talked about like how the Misfit community is like really great, and we actually there was a little thing going on, and like obviously with the Instagram, like they call the Touch and Go Gang. So I loved it, and I was like, I gotta get in on this, and I asked Hannah, and I'm like, how do I get in the Touch and Go Gang? And they're like, just tag like everybody that's doing it. And that's like I was putting it on my stories and like my posts and stuff like that, and I loved how like everyone got together and like was like cheering each other on and stuff like that. And then so how did you start that whole movement thing?
Oh God. Okay, I will say this. Half the stuff I do on Instagram is like Dex Hopkins copied. Like Dex was always like talking about it's like touch and go doesn't start like you can't pause at the hip. Like that's not touch and go. That's regripping. That's not a thing. So I think it's more of inspired by him and a branch off. And Touch and Go Gang I was just being like, I'm very self-aware and I like to poke fun of myself. And I was like, I'm going to go touch and go 295 and then go run a sub 6 minute mile, which isn't that fast. But I was like, people need to know, like, you can be strong and you can be aerobic and you can be fast. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it started. It was like the last set of like, we had to do clean waves. And then the last set was a descending. And then background is like, everybody starts doing it. And I talked to Drew. Drew is like it. So Drew Crandall, one of the owners, is like so abhorrent on the entire idea. He's like, people need to move better. People move better when they do touch and go, but I need them to do singles well. And Drew hates it. And nobody knows this. Which is the best part of like the whole thing. And like everybody keeps doing it. And that's why like you saw the post because I tagged everybody. It's like we're putting a hold on touch and go for now. Because everybody's got to move well. If you want to do it, do it. Yeah. Tag me in it. I will repost it. But for now, for most of us, we're in the season of moving well and moving like you move with intensity and you got to move intently. You got to move well. And I'm notorious for like, I've been the guy who doesn't move well. And I'm starting to really try to hammer like going the basics and doing that stuff. When it comes to the CrossFit stuff, like split jerks, muscle ups, like trying to get rid of the chicken wing and trying to like moving the best to set myself up for success for next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my thing with the touch and go is I love doing it because I think you get hella strong when you do it. And especially if you do it with the right form, like if my form like just starts breaking down, like obviously like I'll just drop the bar and just like do singles. Like I have no issues with doing that. So like if like 205 snatch, like touch and go for 3, like it feels good, I'm going to do it. So,
yeah. It's a skill in CrossFit. Like, and it's never something like where it's like, oh, it's never going to be around. I'm like, let's make it very clear. Touch and go is faster than singles, but it will also can hurt you in a workout. But like, I did 225 power snatches for a set of 5, like in 2017 or the summer of 18. And I was just like, this is stupid. Like people were like, why are you doing that? Like, because I can, but I was like, that's just how my mind works. And it's cool. Like it's fun to do, but it's like, and like, it's coming back, but it's nice to like, you got to have those things in your back pocket as an athlete to like, just whip out, because if you don't even try it, you don't have it and another athlete will. Like you got to have little things that you can break out if you're competing, because as a competitor, you have to be able to like, you got to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, as the Joker says.
Yeah. So what are your numbers?
For which ones?
So like clean snatch.
So clean and jerk. Clean and jerk's 345. Back squat, my 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 rep max are all 425. I'm just like, I'm a person that's better at reps than I've ever been at singles. My squat snatch and my power snatch are both 255,
Okay.
which says more about my squat snatch. And my deadlift, I think, is 507. I've just never been a great deadlifter. I push press 315 though, and I broke a barbell. That's like my cool number that I can do. Like I like shouldered overhead. Shouldered overhead is my jam. Like if you like want to see me go to work, it's like, I think Misfit had us do like intervals of like bike, burpees to wall, and like shouldered overhead. And I was like, this is my jam. Like I'll never see this again, but I gotta hammer this.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. My deadlift is awful. Cause like I'm 6'6", so it takes like a whole mile just to get up. And it's just
and the levers are long. And then you see Colton Mertens, like just pulling from fucking Middle Earth. And it's like, oh, he's at Mordor. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's not how this works.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel for like Matt DeLugos and like, Fikowski and all those guys. And like Royce Dunn. Like I always root for those guys because, I got to root for the taller guys.
Yeah. You have to, like, you want to see the tall guys do well. And it's funny because it's like, I met Brent in the airport flying home from Wadapalooza, and he's like regular sized, but on the CrossFit field, he looks like it's Larry Bird. And then like the Washington Generals from like playing, like who played the Harlem Globetrotters, for people that don't get that reference. But it's just like, what? Like, I didn't know this. Like he's like my size, like, which I'm tall, like I'm 5'11", but it's like, he's not like, I have a picture of me next to Frazier and I'm like, oh, bud. It's a hilarious photo because I didn't realize how small he was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, ending on the Misfit stuff. So what are some of the memories, like great memories that you've had so far as like going to Misfit camps or like doing anything Misfit?
So the best memories are from camp. Like it's wholeheartedly camp, like just staying in a house where it's like me, Brendan Blankarn, Leanne, Hannah, Hilda, and Matt Omachensky, summer of 17. And none of us really knew one another. We all just were like in a house, and we just decided that like this was what it was going to be. And we just like, or like going to camp, like first camp back after like COVID that we were able to do for quarterfinals prep camp, when it's just like get to meet Tony in person. And like me and him had like been back and forth on Instagram, and like he's one of Diana Lamberti's best friends. Like it's like just, it's usually around camp and being around the like everybody, or like Wadapalooza after we had broken down or like closed up the booth for the night and just trying to go eat because we're just exhausted and tired. And it's like me, Kira, Isabel, Jabs, like we're all just trying to go back and we're exhausted, but we're just like, we're ready to run it back tomorrow. Like those little things where it's like, those are the things that stand out more. Or like just throwing down with Caroline, like, which is one of my favorites. Like just throw, like everybody, the community coming together. I don't care if you scaled the workout. I don't care if you did less weight, you did less reps, you changed like from muscle ups to chest to bar, like just being willing to put yourself in the hurt locker and just coming out on the other side and just sharing those experiences. And you're just like, we may not be the same level of fitness, but you know what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool. Now, you said earlier that you're doing a thing called High Rocks. So, is that how you call it? Hydrox, whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. High Rocks.
Yeah, High Rocks. So I have no idea what this is all about. So can you kind of like tell me like what it is and like how you got started with it?
Yeah. So High Rocks is it's CrossFit with a shit ton of running, is the way I describe it. It's no gymnastics. I got into it because I did it the week before my very first marathon in 2019, which was 3 weeks before everything shut down. And Chandler Smith was competing with Jacob Hettner. The both of them were going to go against Hunter McIntyre to beat him at his own race. And it's essentially 8 1,000 meter laps of running followed by a station of fitness. So imagine a NASCAR track where you have to pit every 1,000 meters and go do a station. And the stations are 1,000 meter ski, 385 pound sled push, 275 pound sled pull for 50 meters. Then it's 100 meters or 80 meters of burpee broad jumps, which is the worst station, 1,000 meter row, Farmer's carry for 200 meters with kettlebells, 120 meters of sandbag lunges, and then 100 wall balls at the end.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. And the world championship for this year is coming up the day after my 30th birthday in a couple weeks.
Okay, very cool. Now, what made you, why? Why'd you get involved with it?
So I started getting involved because like it felt more like my wheelhouse. Gymnastics pulling was never my thing for being a big legged guy. And this is just me making excuses. And I'm not that bad at gymnastics. But it's more like running. Okay. There's a lot of, you got to be willing to suffer and hurt, and you got to be able to keep going. And that's done a marathon, I like putting myself in different aspects to try a lot of things. Like even Go Ruck Games this past weekend was awesome. But it's the same thing every time. None of the stations change. You know what you're getting into. And I think I can get faster and keep competing at a very high elite level in high rocks.
Mm-hmm. So why don't they change it?
That's not so it's in the space of obstacle course racing or fitness racing. And so that's just, they don't want to change it. Like they want to have a standard because it's essentially the world championships is the best in America go against the best in Europe because it started in Europe, and the Americans are going to absolutely kick all the Europeans' ass. Like it's nice. Not a question. Like I will be that guy. Like we need more storylines. We got to have the villains. I'm very much willing to play the villain card, and I will be the Scott Hall talker of the NWO if we need it to be. Like that's what we got to do to get more eyeballs on the sport because it helps lift the profile and get more people to do it. Because it's a lot of fun. We're already announcing next season's races in New York, Dallas, and Chicago, and it's going to be cool to see how because it's grown exponentially even through COVID and going out there.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So what's your typical training session like for these competitions?
So right now I'm doing Misfit Athletics comp block 2. No fat outs, but yeah. But it's really Gabe, because I'm a remote athlete, Gabe is really tailored, and Gabe's never done one, but Gabe has a lot of aerobic capacity, played soccer. He's a great coach and really talks what do you think? Again, you don't get if you have a coach, let them coach you. You don't get to tell them what you need to do. I've been with him for so long and I have a good understanding of what I think I need. So I can kind of give some more input, but he's still creating him. But I would say my weekends are my longest sessions because I have the most time. So I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday through Sunday. And it's a strength component. There's usually a 30-minute AMRAP with maybe a little bit of rest built in, and then a bitch work piece, and then an accessory. And so usually my sessions are 2 hours to 2.5. I try to get them in there even with cool down gang and trying to make sure I'm building more of that in that I really try to focus on. And then Maffetone, just longer 45-minute zone 2 runs that I do 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay. All right, cool. Have you ever used the Maffetone on the bike at all, or the ski? What are your thoughts on those pieces of equipment?
So have you done any Maffetone yourself?
Yeah. I use, okay. I have a Peloton, so I pretty much literally have a screen of a video.
Please don't put some confidence behind yourself. You're on a Peloton, man.
Yeah.
You're not doing nothing.
True.
I am somebody who always being able to kind of coach a little bit more aerobic with James Townsend's allowed me to coach with him a little bit, which is really appreciated. Doing something is better than nothing. And I've biked once, I've rode once. I haven't done a ski yet. I've been doing more running biasly because 1, I'm good at it. 2, it's just what I have to do for high rocks. It's a running race. But I really enjoy the bike. I've decided I think I'm going to ski my entire next cycle after this one when I start doing it again, because I want to kind of build that upper body capacity. And I've learned a lot. It's really helped with breathing and being able to recover in the middle of Metcons or workouts, even between Go Ruck Games or doing a high rocks race or even training. It makes a huge difference. Biking wise, I think a lot of people got to get comfortable running, and a lot of people don't enjoy it because they're oh, I'm bad at it, or that was what I did in high school. Like I didn't know what a weight room was until really like I got to college. I was just a runner. And people are like, oh, well, my ankles are sore, my like anything. It's like, you got to time under tension and you need good shoes, but you really got to practice it. And I think Maffetone, you don't need a heart rate monitor. Like if like, unless like you just need to be able to have a conversation and you just don't need to like blow up your legs like you're doing a sulfite sprints. Like I think it's some of the best stuff out there and I love it.
Yeah. When I get on the Peloton, I go
How
to
do
like,
you feel doing it on the Peloton? Because do you just crank it down?
no,
Or
so
like
so
how do
the
you
way
do it on the Peloton?
so I kind of I try to get to like about like 150 for a heart rate, and so I go at like a level 50 or a 52, like in between those, so that's like kind of like mid range, and then I'm like pedaling. I'm probably going like about 22 miles an hour the whole time.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm hauling. So
That's fast.
Yes, yeah,
because so you want to hear a really funny story that I don't even think Gabe knows. So I didn't know how to. So one, I didn't know how to change gears the day before I did my first triathlon, and I hate cycling. So like I think that's fast, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's fast. So it's pretty fast. So like I kind of keep it at like a RPM of like I think it's like 90 to like 100 or 110. So
That's
it's
really
and like my thing is like backstory, I used to do triathlons. I used to place in like I was in the Clydesdale division, like 200 plus, and I used to podium like almost every single time. And so it just, I mean, I love it. I still have my tri bike in my my garage, the biggest tri bike you could ever see ever. Like they don't make any bigger ones than that. And so I just, I kind of got burnt out on that. And then like I like working out too, so it was like, screw it, I'll just do CrossFit, and I'll take the bike out to ride with my kids or whatnot. But other than that, it's like I don't really have any ambitions to even do another one. So
yeah, and CrossFit's more fun, and it's like knowing people with families, like it's easier to like do those things.
Yeah,
like just with time wise, CrossFit you can probably get a little bit more bang for your buck, even though like there's a lot to be like, but you'll go for walks and do things with kids. It's like, it's just like, you gotta like, I'm sure like you're having more fun being a dad and a husband than just like, oh, I'm going to go practice 3 hours to go running, swimming, and cycling.
Yeah. That's not going to happen. My wife would kill me. So So I actually got my 4-year-old, well, he's 6 now, but my 4-year-old son at the time to do kettlebell swings.
Yes.
With a 3-pound kettlebell. And my wife's like, stop it. And like, he knows, he's got the hip movement. He knows how to swing it. And I'm like, sweet. And he's using my old lacrosse sticks to do like clean and jerks and stuff like that. So I'm like, just keep on doing it, buddy.
Like,
yeah,
anything like I like just encourage anybody would like just encourage like bring your kids like just to move. Like they don't need to move weight. Like you don't have to be the overbearing parent, or like this is more like not to you, just like a PSA, but it's like just like let's teach the kids and the youth like to move. Like let's not let them sit down. Like even Gabe's got his kids, Brendan and Anderson, to like work out with him a little bit. It's like just do like bring them in, like just have fun with it. Like you don't need to put them on an AMRAP like and let them suffer, but it's just like let them have fun and like move well, like teach them and see like if they want to keep doing it.
Yeah, so typically what I do is called next station. So we'll do 30 seconds of work and then like 10 seconds of switching, because obviously I've learned that a minute's way too long for like his attention span, because both of us have ADD, and it's just like we're like all over the place. And so and the thing was like he would get on the rower, he would get on the elliptical. I had like rings rigged up, and like we would do like dip, like when I would do dips, he would just do ring swings and stuff like that, and just for him to move. And like it was I loved seeing him running around trying to figure out what next station he should go to. Like, should I do the kettlebell or should I get in the elliptical? Should I do this or whatever? And then like I wouldn't force him to do anything, so he's like, okay, I'm done. And I'm like, okay, bro. All right, just go upstairs. You're good.
You're good. Like,
high five. You did great. So
like that's like the best part, because I feel like a lot of people dread working out. It's like we got like I don't care. Like you don't have to do CrossFit and like anything like. And this is something really like more as like a personal thing that I learned when I stopped trying to compete in like 2018. Even though I'm getting that competitive itch again, which always comes back. You don't like, it doesn't leave you.
No, I'm 42 and it never goes away. Never.
No. Like if you're an athlete, you want to be a competitor. It's just like, there's so much more fitness outside of the gym. Like you could like go to the supermarket and stand next to like probably the best runner in your town and you wouldn't know, because like they're always unassuming. Like the strongest people, like you can be a bodybuilder, you can be a power lifter, you can be a CrossFitter, you can be a triathlete, you can be a marathoner. It doesn't matter. Like just doing something. Like, are you and I probably going to be biased that like you should probably be able to back squat your body weight and deadlift it and probably like do some cleans and maybe some burpees and some pull-ups? Yeah, but like it's not for everybody. Like it's just encouraging people to move, like just doing it that way. And I think just training for life. You don't have to train to be a competitor.
Yep, totally agree. So, what are your expectations for this year for High Rocks?
So World Championships in a couple weeks. I want to run I want to be at 60 minutes. Like I'm running like faster than I have Maffetone. Like I did a 90-minute run. I'm actually running a half marathon this weekend for fun. Everybody keeps asking me, like I had people like, after Go Ruck ask me, like, are you going to try for a time? Like, are you going to train for I think I'm just going to do a zone 2 Maffetone and just put on my supper stuff and go
Nice.
and just like smile in the dirt. Like, I just think my body after everything this past weekend at Go Ruck Games, like it's probably better if I do a zone 2, even if I know I'm going to be wanting to like push like a 135 if I can, but I don't think that's smart.
Okay. All right. So we're getting close to the end. So obviously you kind of talked about your goals for High Rocks and stuff like that. Do you have any other goals, like, personal wise?
Yeah. I want to win a High Rocks race next season. Like I need to win like one of the preemptive, like before the North American Championships, I want to show up to a race in a city and just win it. Like I'm kind of, Go Ruck Games kind of like frustrated me a little bit. I think it's just more personal. It's like, I'm better than this. Like, I know I'm better than this. Like, and it was a very well-rounded test. I don't know if you like saw it or heard about it outside of just me like posting about it, like very like infrequently because they like fucked us up. Like it was pretty great. It was very well run, but it was just like that. And I really like, I want to do like, maybe do Wadapalooza team of 3, like maybe try to push a team of 3. I don't think Indy's not my thing. Like if I'm going to do anything, it'd have to be a team. But those are probably like my 2 things right now. It's more High Rocks focused for sure. But trying to see like maybe team of 3 and like some Wadapalooza, or maybe do a team if I can find something for TFX. Cause I think those are probably the 2 bigger, like out of season comps.
Okay. All right, cool. What is your favorite book?
Ooh. So this one surprises people. So can I give like the standard one and then my surprise?
Yes.
Okay. So I just finished The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, which is like everybody's like go-to. Like it was just very eye-opening and just a good reminder. But the book I recommend people to most, that I've actually given as a gift to the most people, is Mike Tyson's autobiography.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's usually a shocker. And like, that's kind of the reaction. The Baddest Man on the Planet it's probably the most authentic autobiography that doesn't try to pull the punches. And he's been through a lot. Not trying to apologize or excuse anything he's done. I think there was a lot of things done to him and like, just like in certain things. But it's probably one of the most introspective to learn about how smart a person can be that's not book smart. Just because he like doesn't have that much of an education doesn't mean that man is a fool. He knows more about fighting and the history of fighting and wars and like just ancient history than most people will ever know. And the way he would talk himself up, customato, like got him ready to like really just kind of hypnotize them, but also like that positive self-talk that we always talk about is some of the best stuff you can ever pull from, and how he really tried to get himself away from drugs and turn himself into a better character human after everything he went through is probably one of the better stories, and why I recommend that to the most people.
Okay, very cool. All right, next question is, what is in your gym bag?
Ooh, so let's funny enough is nobody can see this at home, but here's the gym bag. So there's like 17 sweatbands that you can see there hanging off a rope.
Jeez.
It's all the sharp and the axe ones.
I only have two.
So I just like I have all of them for me and 16 of my closest friends whenever we're all doing bar muscle ups, jokingly. So it's still got all my stuff from GoRuck games. So I got a little bit. Oh, I got a bunch of proper fuel, my Airwave, my heart rate monitor, proper. So I said proper. I got Hydro from Builder Hydro, which is Hunter McIntyre's like supplement for like salt and everything, and then just like knee sleeves and like thumb tape and wraps. So that's all that's in there right now because I haven't cleaned it out since I got home last night at 12:30. It was cool. it was a long day coming back. Atlanta is easily the worst airport, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. It's like if you fly into C and you got to connect to A, and it's like you have 20 minutes to get there. It's like I'm going to PR my mile.
Funny story you talk about that. So my whole family decided to go to, I think it was Florida, or we went to Orlando or something like that. I forget where it was. So like my son is 6 at the time, and he is carrying a bag with my wife's like blow dryer and like his iPad, his like teddy bear and like all that stuff. And so he's like all taking his shoe off. He's just like yelling, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So we get to like the ticket thing, and my son all of a sudden says, "Where's my bag?" And I'm like, "What?"
Oh God.
And so I run around in the men's bathroom right across from where we are. And I'm like, has anybody seen this have anybody seen a Mickey Mouse backpack? Has anybody, like, everyone's like, no. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up and says, "Hey, I think you left it at the security desk." And I'm like, shit. And so the guy, the guy at the ticket thing was just like, "Hey, you have about like 4 minutes to get there, come back, and get into the airplane." And I'm like, "Okay, deal." So I literally booked it down the stairwell, I didn't even take the train. I was just like,
nope,
full throttle all the way down. Security desk. I'm like, okay. Went to the main security desk. I'm like, that's my son's bag. It has a computer and it's stuff on it. So they did it through X-ray, and they didn't open the bag up. And they're like, "Oh, we got to open again because there's like a computer system in there." I'm like, guys, I told you that, idiots. And so like they said, "Okay, you're good to go." I literally grabbed the bag and sprinted. Like this is like when full blown masks were like around. So I was like, I literally just like, I literally ripped my mask off and just started sprinting like full throttle. And I'm like, "Is this where the A terminal is?" And they're like, "Yes, keep on going. You're almost there." Full throttle. I sprinted and I made it. The guy was like, you had 1 minute left to even make it. And he's like, he even told my wife, he's like, there's no way in hell he's going to make it back.
Yeah, like that's insane. That's so bad. Congrats to you, and that's why you do CrossFit, because now you're fit for it.
Oh, Dad, I was dying. Like I was like sucking wind so bad. I was like
I'm sure you were sweating in those like seats so bad too.
Oh,
you're like,
gross. Yeah, like I was like just started to sweat and just like breathing heavy. And the guy's like, "Okay, you can like literally take a breather before you get into the airplane." And I'm like, "All right, thank you, appreciate it." So, but yeah,
like, thank you. Can I get my free water, please, that I can drink on this plane, but then put my mask on? Okay, cool.
Yeah, like it was, and those terminals are not like close to each other whatsoever.
No,
in Atlanta,
not at all. Like they can just get a bunch of flights, not bash. Like it's just very inefficient. That's all we're saying. Mm-hmm. It's just not a very convenient airport to get around.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I could go an hour about that airport. So,
yeah, same.
Yeah. So
they lost my bag one time, but
oh geez.
Okay. What else? Yeah.
Okay. So next question is, okay, let's just imagine it's your last day on Earth. Okay. And so what do you want people to know you as?
Good question. Okay. So this has to be your ending question, because I swear you ask it. I think you've asked it to
I ask it to everybody.
Okay. So I never want to be known for anything I've done athletically. I've always wanted to leave the impressions on how I've interacted with folks, and just trying to make sure like I'm going to be very straightforward, probably a little too blunt sometimes, but I want you to have a positive experience and learn from it, like more than what like anything I could have done athletically. It's never about like the on the field stuff, even when I was playing sports. It's more of like, how are you off and talking and interacting with folks? Like, I feel like that's what really, at the end of the day, it's not the things you did or the things you accumulate. It's the experiences. And those are the things that you want people to remember you as.
Very cool. Love that one. Love that one. Okay, so the last question is, where can people contact you if they have any questions?
So the easiest way to get a hold of me is my Instagram handle, which people still to this day is hilarious because they don't understand why it's ARFBARK. But it's AWRFBARK. It's my 4 initials. And then when a dog barks, it sounds like ARF. So then that's why I created my Instagram handle back like the way it is. That's really the easiest way. I don't have TikTok. I would never have a TikTok. I don't do Snapchat or any of that stuff. It's just hit me up on Instagram, tag me in something. If you want to join the Peoples of Hef Trot Society or Sunday Miles Touch and Go Gang, there's a lot of Cool Down Crew. Like there's a lot of those things out there. Like feel free to join us. Like I just want like my little corner of the internet. I'm going to be the most positive and like refreshing and honest person that I can be for everyone. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for actually letting me kind of reschedule the podcast. Cause like my whole house just like went to shambles.
As soon as you would like text me, I was like, dude, it's totally okay. Like, is your house okay? Like, please do not like feel bad on anything, because honestly, you did give me a little bit of a break because I hadn't packed it all for like the competition over the past weekend. And I was like, cool. So I have a little more time to like remember what I needed. And honestly, I think I was able to give you better answers after doing the competition than pre. And so like, do not worry. I'm just glad your house is okay now.
Yeah. So to the listeners, I had a huge water leak at my house, and it was a nightmare. Like I'm so pissed. Anyway, but we'll go over that. So, but listen, I listen. Thank you very much for being on my show. You know, it was awesome, like understanding and like learning more about you and like, you know, how you got involved with Misfit. Cause like, I always wanted to know like how you got involved with them and stuff. So I really do appreciate it. And thank you for everything.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. If you ever need anything, or if you need me back on the show for like some reason to talk about anything else that I happen to attend that we just need a different person's opinion on, feel free to hit me up. I'm always happy to. And we'll just keep raining down with the Touch and Go Gang and see how these Maffetone and Sunday Miles go.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome, man.